Here we go. Welcome to another episode of As a Man Thinketh. This is Trey.
And good day.
Bringing you another episode. Today we have Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins.
Yes.
And man, this was a doozy.
Yeah.
To start us off. I think this was one of the first books that I feel like this was one of the first books we read together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the first books. I wanted to know why you chose this book to begin. Just to start it off.
I think when you're going through process, and I think where we are right now in life and society, I think Dr. Hawkins provides a framework for liberation, for peace, for being more mindful. And he just goes through this flow. And I think a lot of times we're just trying to hold on to a whole bunch of stuff. And I think the path toward tranquility, as we talked about, it's a lot of it is releasing what's holding you. So
right.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off that, I don't think a lot of people know they're holding on to anything.
Right.
I think they're just unaware.
Yeah.
It's the man's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's these women over here.
Yeah. And these other podcasts out here, they killing folks out here.
Hey,
they killing every relationship. But the dude on the podcast said women are the problem.
Right.
Like, wait a minute. I'm a high value man and you will not talk to me. No, I'm sorry. That's
in that manner.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, but and I don't blame them.
No.
You know, this is, everybody's coming from their perspective and living in this particular paradigm.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to see that I'm like, it's not them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm starting to realize. It's like, it's me. And raising, you have a couple kids, I have a child, and you start to realize like, it ain't about what Johnny or Sue did. I'm using my dad's word. It ain't about Billy John or Sue. Like, who the hell is Billy John or Sue? It ain't about them. It's about you and why you chose to do the thing you did.
Yeah.
And I think our parents and even religion was coming up in a Christian household. It was kind of on it, but then it get off. For me, it was more focused on another entity outside of me. So what Hawkins does, he says, no, you got something. It's you. It's
right.
you. It's you. He actually goes and right now, after this edit, you'll see a list of things that he places in the intro. And I'll give you a couple that people attempt to do. I think it's in the intro, it's in the foreword. That people attempt to do because they just want to get their stuff together. They will go sing tribal chants, relive past lives, try hypnotic regression, join a marriage encounter group, write affirmations, make a vision board, get rebirth.
That's right.
Study Zen.
That's right.
Take more courses and workshops. You meditate, chant a mantra, drink green tea, try to Pentecostal, breathe in fire,
say what?
Speak in tongues. Man, and look, there is literally 1, 2, 3 pages worth of all the things people have tried. And people do, and at the end they're still like, what's that thing I need to do?
You crash again, as he says. You crash once again. Trying to figure it out because you're trying to do much. And this is why I think it's so. But what I also like about what he's talking about, if you read a lot of the ancient texts as well, that's all they're talking about. Releasing, letting go. Stop trying to control. Stop trying to hold on. And let things happen. That we talked about in the previous episode, talked about allowing.
Right.
And this thing around like we trying to control every single thing. And, it's like, no, that's not how it works. Because you're always going to control based upon not necessarily your perspective, but your perception. Side note, back to what you were saying about that, we talked about the podcast.
Right.
I don't even know if it's really perspective. I think it's because perspective really has to be informed. A lot of times, I always, I talked about this earlier. It was like, hey, you got to study a little bit. Give it some study to certain things so you can have an informed perspective on what's going on. I think it's all perception based upon their inner experience and it's projecting out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all did what I just did, but I was like, so what is perception? You said what perspective was. Which is something. No, you
it's
said
a point of view.
A point of view.
Point of view.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got
the
it.
perception is basically more inner from what's actually happening. So think about it, from perception is a point of view, and that's fine. You can have a point of view, but I would always encourage people and encourage myself to like have an informed point of view, not just out here just saying things.
Right.
Perception is basically doesn't have to be informed.
Okay.
It is basically just what I'm feeling and what's going on within me, and I'm projecting that out.
Okay.
So if you think about a perceptual position from victim, and those like usually three, right? So victim, victor, and villain, right?
Yes.
That is basically how you are feeling within you and how you're seeing things.
We're talking about the lens.
From the inside. That is the lens that you're using.
Right.
The lens ain't outside of you.
Right.
The lens is within you.
Right. Okay.
So I hope that makes sense for folks.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Damn, you said something else I wanted to piggyback on. Oh well, it'll come back.
Okay.
It'll come back. So we pretty much gave you what the introduction was, which is you are attempting to figure out what is it you say, crash? Well, then you crash.
Yeah.
You're attempting to figure out what that thing is. How do I feel better?
Yep.
And you do all these things to attempt to do that. And then at the end, you just crash anyway.
Yeah.
So this book is, it gives you a pathway, as it says, of surrender. And that's what we are doing because we accumulate so many things on us. And it's really an accumulation. This is what I got of thoughts.
Yes. That's good.
I've always attempted to figure out, I was like, what comes first, the thought or the feeling? I say, I think something, so I feel this way. And I've been real that, like, I'll tell my daughter, I was like, well, what are you thinking about? And she'll tell me what she's thinking. And I was like, well, that is going to inform how you feel. The way he's setting this up, man, it's like this. To me, it's like you have a thought, a thought. And I'm going to go from the top of it is the parachute. It's the feeling. All these thoughts are connected to just one feeling. And we get so caught up in, and it's almost like thoughts are symptoms is what I was getting from him. This is just me. This is my perspective.
Okay.
It's you're getting all these symptoms and what is that connected to? It's connected to this feeling of insecurity. It's connected to this feeling of pride or anger or fear.
Yeah.
But we don't know that people will be in denial, which he goes into. He talks about that in the Anatomy of Emotions in chapter 2. Yeah. So we're gonna kind of go through 3 chapters. We'll probably be bouncing back and in, but people go into denial. He's like, "Man, you are mad." No, I ain't. All right, it's that motherfucker that always doing this, and it's like, well, calm down. You got to get there first. You know what I mean? So you can see it clearly. You're fogged up.
Yeah. He says right here, people are desperate to stay unconscious.
Yes.
Starting on page 13.
13.
But he breaks down, I think, start going in these feeling and mental mechanisms that we use to actually navigate the day to day.
Yep.
And starts off with suppression and repression.
Right. But before you jump into it, all I want to say is that there are 3 ways or 3 or 4 ways that we actually handle or manage our emotions and keep on.
Expression, escape, repression,
and suppression.
Yeah.
So the difference, suppression and repression, very similar. One is conscious, which is repression. Which is suppression, and then repression is so unconscious that it just goes over your head.
Yeah.
I had a situation one time. It was the weird. What should I say? I'm gonna say it. I was doing this play one time, and I was looking for something. I forget what I was looking for, and so I walk out back, and as I open the door, it's these 2 Okay. It was 2 of the crew. Yeah,
okay.
It was 2 people from the crew that were kissing. That just happened to both be male.
Okay,
fine.
Okay,
but that I did not know were in that way.
Okay,
I literally saw it.
Nor within that relationship.
Nor in a relationship. They don't even acknowledge each other.
I think it was just like,
boom. I
y'all
opened the door.
together?
Right. And I was like, oh, okay. Close the door and literally acted as if it never happened. I know you might be saying that's a conscious thing. No, I subconsciously, it just hit me. I left, walked away.
Okay.
And months later, I thought about it. I was like, what? Oh! But it was a big thing because I didn't even know.
Okay.
I didn't even know. And he later on said, yeah, I'm gay. But I never did that thing that you said you saw. I was like, I saw what I saw. I saw what I saw. Anyway, but it was so, it was a repressed, I think I literally, now, you know, things happen to you when you're kids and you grow up and you have no idea.
True.
I think that's a better definition of repression.
Yeah.
But that was something, maybe I did suppress that. I don't know. I have to rethink that through. I haven't thought that out. Maybe we cut and we don't see this. But anyway.
Well, so let's talk about, I'll jump over to escape. It says that, you know, of course, escape is the avoidance of feelings through diversion. And this idea that we try to remove ourselves out of life sometimes. And I think that creates even more problems. This idea of just, not just, and just apathetic about what's going on. That create a cycle of a lot of things within life as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. When things begin to happen and it's kind of out, you make it outside of you. That doesn't affect me in this type of way. And also with escapism is I would say most people do. I mean, I'm guilty. I drink alcohol. Because water's fine, right? Because there is a feeling I'm looking for. So I'm not staying in the feeling that I'm in.
Yeah.
And this book made me recognize that. It's like, why am I drinking? Outside of just purely, I'm cool. I just had to taste it, see what it was. And because we will overindulge and go into another feeling. It's really escaping a feeling versus finding a new feeling. I think I've tricked myself to believe, or I just like to taste.
Yeah.
And I just want to, you know what I'm saying? I just want to taste it. Well, why? So, and then the expression one.
For sure.
Expression is another one that we do, which is when we vent. Again, these technically, when you consciously do it, he'll go in and stay later.
Yeah.
It's not a negative thing.
No.
It's because this is how we manage our emotions.
Right.
And sometimes we vent the thing. However, when we're not conscious that what we're doing, we're actually creating a loop.
That's
a
good.
cycle.
That's good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A cycle, and then we keep reiterating, and we'll bring ourselves back to that feeling, and that feeling creates the feeling again. It just what do you call it? Like it just mobilizes. It regenerates through attention to, and then the non-resolving of.
Yeah, the rumination of a feeling and thought can create a whole bunch of cycles. I also think it feels like we'll get into. So that parachute of thought. Oh, you said that was like
I was saying that was feeling, and then the thoughts were the actual strings connected.
I like that. I would also say that the overall parachute, it's also a thought.
Uh-oh.
Does that make sense?
Okay, so let me see where you're going.
I
like
it's a full thought.
Okay.
And then we've said that this is a parachute. Now the parachute has the larger component, which is basically tugged on by the strings. But the parachute is the thing. So it's kind of, I always look at that from the model of, what we define this thing as, the situation as, the circumstance as. From there, from our definition of what that is, from that thought, we get the emotion, then we get the other thoughts, which also tell us how we're going to behave.
Okay.
Play that out a little bit.
All right. Well, so you're saying, so we took the whole parachute.
Yep.
You're saying it's not actually the feeling; it's actually a thought.
It's definition. Yeah, it's a thought that's already there. It's an overarching thought. And then the other strings that are connected to you happen to be minor thoughts or thoughts associated with the major thought. Yeah, let's say that.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm with you. my question to you would be then, how would you place feeling around this thought? Like, where is feeling in place?
Feeling is based upon the definition of the thing. If I define something as good for me, which is a thought,
right,
then I'm going to have a good feeling because I define it as good.
Okay, so you're saying the thought is the feeling?
I'm saying no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I will feel. So if I think, and the way I define something, and the meaning I place to something, to that circumstance, that situation, that moment,
right,
that's a thought,
right,
of definition. From there, I will derive a particular emotion from it.
Right. No. Right.
Yeah.
That emotion.
And that emotion is basically related to, or is a derivative of basically how I define that, what the thought which defined that thing.
Right. So in that analogy, I'm saying, then what would the feeling be?
The feeling is still, I mean, and kind of tying it into your analogy, I think it would be the overarching, like the canopy, right? And it's telling me where basically, or maybe,
Okay.
maybe it's actually the strings, because the string, your support strings basically tell you where you're going to go.
I can see that. And
then the behavior, which is the overarching canopy, that's what I think. I think so. The overarching canopy is the behavior, because you've pulled on the strings to tell it to go left, to go right, to lift up, all of those things.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I like this, because and this is great, because the way you're seeing it, I'm seeing it in the way in which I feel like if there's a feeling, because normally the way I had initially saw it was from the feeling is the base, and then what grows from the feeling are these different thoughts that are kind of connected to it. Because if you have a feeling of jealousy, for example, where did that even come from?
Had to come from a thought.
Had to come right, right. You saw something, and then experienced it, and now you stuck with that, and you never changed the thought to change the feeling, right, based on the way I think we look at it.
That's why I say you got to define it. That's why I say you have to define it first.
Right.
When you define what it is, then you start to realize why you have that particular emotion. If you think some shit's bad,
right,
you're gonna have probably negative feelings related to that shit.
Right.
I'm sorry to say it that way, but that makes sense, right? If you believe something is terrible for you, then your experiences are not going to always, or you're going to initially think that you're going to have negative experiences, negative emotions related to it.
Right. Is that what he's saying? Which is fine.
So in certain parts he's gonna. So we'll get to that in a moment. We'll get to a moment when he starts talking about it toward the end of how we liberate ourselves. You'll start to see that mark.
Because I like what you're saying. Because I think yes, and I'll do the yes and
yes.
Because when you, all right. So based on the way how do I say this? When you have a feeling.
See?
And I think you're right. We're actually about to go into that. Because there is a mechanism.
Yep.
There's a mechanism for letting things go. Which he goes into in chapter 2. There's a mechanism. And then he speaks to the mechanism, which is you feel something. You don't know what it is. So you allow it to play through you. You don't really use any of the other mechanisms to handle. Like I'm not going to escape from it. I'm not even going to express it. I'm not going to sweep it under the rug through suppression or repression. I'm just going to be with this thing.
Yeah.
And you allow it to play through you.
Yeah.
And when you allow that to play through you, I believe he says you get, not that you get used to it, it's just that you realize it was just an emotion.
Yeah. Well, he says on page 20, he says, a feeling that is not resisted will disappear as the energy behind it dissipates. Right. And that's just good science as well. Neurologically, if you get hooked up on a machine and you feel a particular emotion, it is only going to last to like a couple seconds. But the problem is sometimes for us, and he talks about this as well, we don't release the emotion.
Right.
And it don't allow, like you said, flow through you. You're like, let me get a little bit more of that. Not even consciously. You just hold on to it. And that's what this book is about. Let the emotion come, let the thought comes, then release it.
Right, the thought. Right, because the thought will come.
Yeah.
Thoughts do attach, and you can't judge it. That's another big thing. Don't judge the first. Don't judge the feeling.
Yeah.
The thoughts are gonna come, and you can't. It's almost like you can't attach it. It's like you just have to clip it. You clip it, and then you can change your thought based on the feeling. Like you can program yourself. You get this feeling. Oh, it's all good. Yep. It's all good.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay. I'm getting some insights.
I'm gonna read these highlights I got on here.
Oh yeah, please.
So the first step is to allow yourselves to have the feeling without resisting it, venting it, fearing it, condemning it, or moralizing about it. That's on page 20. Then he jumps in. He says, letting go of wanting to resist let go of wanting to resist the feeling.
Yep.
It is the resistance that keeps the feeling going. So it is a Chinese finger trap. It's basically, if you ever played with those back in the day, you try to pull too hard, it tightens up on you. Think about that for your feelings. The more you resist the feeling, it stays with you. You know, it's kind of like, like telling people not to think about something. Think about what? Once I insert, don't think about a white polar bear, you immediately go to what? Dag burn it, white polar bear.
Dag burn it.
Right? And you're trying to resist it, but you're trying to resist what? That thing right there? Yeah, that thing right there that I'm trying to tell you not to resist. Yes, you're thinking about it. I see it. Gotcha.
I already got you.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Right. These are good. What else? What you guys coming in?
When letting go,
ignore
all thoughts.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna keep reiterating that because that's where people lose it.
Yeah.
You get the feeling of rage. You it's because now the thought is like, you trying me. You talk about my mama.
Yeah, we talk about
Talk about my sister. You about my lady. You looking at me. And you're actually creating, I think it's called displacement, because I'm now putting how I feel on you, but that's how you feel. And so you have to, again, like I like when he gives it. And I think since we're doing the, let me see if, as you go through the book, he'll give you other, I feel like modifications on the way to let go, because it's simple. I mean, it's as simple as simple does.
Yeah.
You get the feeling, let it stay with you. Don't judge it. Let it go.
Yeah.
It's way easier said than done.
It is very much way easier. I wouldn't give people a few things that's not even in the book. But one of the things I try to, when we're trying to coach, we talked about this as well. Be okay with putting that thought or that feeling on the witness stand, right? And we get in the space where it's like, have a hard inquiry with it. Like, what am I actually thinking right now? What's the context of what's going on? What am I going to do about it? Which is exercising your choice, and then release it. But you can't, if you're fighting the feeling,
right?
It's going to stay there. But if you just take, a lot of times, anytime you put inquiry toward a particular matter, the intensity of that thing or that thought starts to dissipate, which is really interesting.
Yeah, you putting light on it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Ooh, good symbol. Good metaphor.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you putting light on it.
You put light on the shadow, it's gone.
Yeah.
It ain't even there no more.
Yeah.
That just made me think of the denial and projection, because most people deny their own truth.
That's good.
Like you're upset, you're sad, you're in grief, you're mourning, whatever that may be. First, you have to admit it. Like, you have to say, that is the thing. That's what's happening. But what'll happen is, no, that's not happening. You're mad.
Yeah.
So they deny it and then project it.
Yeah.
I remember that happened to me before. I can go through so many different stories where people have pointed at me and I'm like, I ain't even said now, but then I'll take on what they give me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with a good friend of mine where if someone's like, look, I got all this shit in my hand. You want some shit? If you put your hand out and they give it to you and you say, why did you put that in my hand? Well, you had your hand out and I asked if you wanted it.
Yeah.
And you put it out.
Yeah.
And people do that unconsciously a lot of the times.
Why do people want you to feel the way they feel? about a lot. Yeah, see?
That is true.
Think about it. A lot of people want us to feel the way they feel about a lot of things.
One, I think, is so that we have some type of camaraderie. I want you to like me. That's a big thing with me.
True.
I want you to like me.
Okay.
But I got to take my truth. So how do I do that? But I like what you're saying in general. That's just in general. Those braids, man, the braids. Oh, you don't like the braids? Oh, man. Ew.
Listen, you know my thing. Like, I don't need you to believe what I believe for me to believe.
All right.
Okay. Now, if you need me to believe what you believe so that you can believe it, I'm going to say that you probably don't believe it.
Wow. Yeah, hey, that's good. We should rewind and play it again.
When I look at my championship Braves, you need to believe that we the best in the league. That's all I'm saying. When you look at our record right now. All right, I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's keep going. Don't forget, ego is not your friend. He says on page 23.
I think
I love that.
Yeah, I think ego. You said 23. Yeah, because what I think he's saying, because you know the ego, it kind of helps us survive. It helps us survive.
It does.
But we have to balance the ego, I believe.
Right.
And I think some just allow. I think most people want to be on cruise control. I think once you get out of the mindset of not living on cruise control and living on intention, it shifts everything.
Yeah.
And I only say that because like my lady, I feel like she thinks about everything. And I'm like, I ain't even thinking about Saturday today. Why you think about everything? Anyway.
That's funny.
Shout out to Kareem. Anyway. Everything emits a vibration. Emotions emit a vibrational field.
Yeah.
That's why when someone walks into the room, you can feel the energy of other people. Yeah. And over time, these thoughts, because thoughts emit vibration. So all these thoughts that you have repressed or suppressed under that rug, like literally, if I walk into your room and I see your rug all up, I be like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. And then they just smile like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is a lot, and I don't want to. You see this rug?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Denial.
Yeah.
You're just mad because you don't have the. I'm not mad at all.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know I keep saying it over and over again because I think we don't get that. We don't understand, and I attempt to say it in different ways. I say the same thing a lot in different ways.
But he does say, so there's a scale of emotions that he talks about. We talked about, emotions having vibration ranging from 1 to 1,000. And the level of full enlightenment, he states here, is at 1,000. And at the top of the map, he would say. Now, the level of courage is which is at
250, I think.
200.
200. All right.
Is basically the start. But he goes peace, joy, love. Oh, so let's go. Peace at 600.
All right.
Joy 450. Love 500. Reason at 400. Acceptance 350. Willingness 310. Neutrality 250. Courage 200. Pride 175. Anger 150. Desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. That goes all the way to 20.
Yep.
And why that's really important for him to say that courage is at 200 is that he says that energy says I can do it, and it's determined, and is determined and excited about life, is productive, it's independent, it's self-empowered. Effective action is possible, which is different from anger. We go down, keep going down further.
Right.
The energy overcomes the source of fear by force, threats, and attack. It's irritable, it's explosive, it's bitter, it's volatile, it's resentful, right? Go down a little bit further, talk about courage. It sees danger everywhere.
Right.
It's avoidant, it's defensive, it's preoccupied with security, it's possessive of others, it's jealous, it's restless, it's anxious, and unfortunately hypervigilant.
Which one was that?
That's fear.
Yeah.
So fear at 100, courage at 200. We talked about this. A lot of folks, and even when we were reading the books, when we were recommending, like some folks, when we go through the book, you end up stopping right at
fear.
Right at fear.
That's what
And with that, and once you can overcome it, you can get the courage, and all the rest of it starts to move. But it's so dense in the book, where he talks about the ways that these emotions are being expressed.
Right.
And it does hit you a little bit, like, yeah, I guess that is. Yeah. And you have this moment like, oh man, how long have I been in this anger?
Right.
How long have I been in this state of desire or the state of grief, and so on? And do I have moments of love or moments of real reason, and so on?
Right. Speaking of reason, I like that I did that, because that's what I had next. Reason is the tool the mind uses to achieve its emotional ends.
See.
When used by the intellect, the basic underlying emotion is usually unconscious, or at least out of awareness. When the underlying emotion is forgotten or ignored and not experienced, people are unaware of the reason for their actions, and they develop all kinds of plausible reasons. In fact, they frequently do not know why they are doing what they are doing.
Oh man.
I'm saying it over and over.
Yeah.
Because the book keeps saying it over and over.
Yeah.
You about to say something? Or?
No. Keep going. I got something, but keep going, man. That's funny.
But a simple way to become conscious of the underlying emotion is what for? You ask the question, what for? So he gives an example. He says, a man wants a new Cadillac. His mind gives all the logical reasons, but logic doesn't really explain it. So he asks himself, what do I want a Cadillac for? I don't know why I went that voice, but well, he says, it's to achieve status, recognition, respect, and solid citizen success status.
Yes.
Solid citizen success status. Okay. Again, what do I want status for? Respect and approval.
Yep.
From others, he might say, and to ensure that respect.
Yep.
Again, what do I want respect and approval for?
Keep going.
To have the feeling of security. Again, what do I want security for? To feel happy. The continual question, what for, reveals that basically there are feelings of insecurity, unhappiness, and lack of fulfillment. Every activity or desire will reveal that the basic goal is to achieve a certain feeling.
Absolutely.
There are no other goals than to overcome fear and achieve happiness. I said, well, okay. Like, just think right now, either you're about to go home from work, you're riding home from work, you're about to go out, like from moment to moment, there are certain factors that make you feel, let's say, make it simple, feel good or feel bad. And so everything you're doing is to achieve a better feeling place instead of a lower feeling place. Even when people get angry, it's because it makes them feel better in that moment to go to that space instead of being, you go up to anger instead of down to sadness or like when you're weak.
You go up to anger instead of like dealing with grief, or you dealing with guilt, or
shame.
Shame is the big one. That's the low.
That's the lowest of the low.
But the other part of that, which is so crazy, so the reason why I was laughing is I was thinking about a conversation I had yesterday. Actually another one. I was just talking to my son, and I was like, so why? So what for, why? If you all know old language, what for, why, same thing. So it was like, so why? Okay, why is that? And I could see him just frustrated because I'm like, this is how you get to understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You need to know why you're actually not doing what you're supposed to be doing and why you're breaking promises to yourself. This is basically what I told him.
Ooh.
And I said, you need to always examine why you are doing something. And it reminded me, it's like most times we don't necessarily know what we're doing or know why we're doing a certain thing. And then it brought me into a different, I ended up alluding to a different conversation that a lot of times many of us don't know why we believe a thing.
Like the why outside of mom and daddy told me.
Yeah, outside. Like, why do you, so it's like epistemology. You need to know why you know a thing and why you believe a thing and how do you study the belief of that thing. Like that's good. Again, going back to what we said, if I need you to believe what I believe for me to believe it,
right,
then
you probably don't.
I probably don't believe it.
Right. Or almost probably don't need to believe
I
it.
probably don't need, that's better.
Yeah.
Probably don't need to believe that thing yet. It's not there.
And most people do that. I gotta, like most, let me just front myself out.
Yeah.
I used to love Stephen A. Smith. Everything Stephen A. Smith said, this is 15 years ago though.
Y'all can find Goosby's Stephen A. Impressions on the internet somewhere.
Oh yeah, I do a Stephen A. Smith.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I don't give a damn.
Yes.
All right? Man, shut the I was playing. Stephen A. Smith, hey, what up, Stephen A? Spell it with a PH. Anyway. But no, Stephen, I used to, everything he said, I would be on. And then when he said something I didn't like, I didn't know how to verbalize.
What happened?
For me. Damn it. And most people want people to think. Right.
They got me. That's funny, y'all.
Man.
Dissonance. Oh, man.
Because that's what people do. Because you'll ask somebody, like, I want to put it on me.
Yeah.
I want to be an example of what we're reading.
Yeah.
But I think we had a conversation. I don't remember if I told you about my nieces getting into it. So I got a niece Chloe and I got a niece Ken.
You just be telling.
So
people
I know.
all your business.
I know, but this love, this love.
All good.
Jesus did it. They talked about God did it. Talked about Paul and Peter and all that. But Chloe and McKinley, right? Chloe used to drive my daughter crazy as a baby because she used to get away with everything. That's what the way Tran would see it.
Yeah.
Forget it. She my baby mixed, and so she light skinned. My baby dark skinned. She blaming complexion, and I was like, it ain't gotten. I was like, well, people have their perspectives. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was that, but I do think it's the baby. And so when you're dealing with the baby, you have to think past them because you're already smarter than them, like by definition. Like you've experienced more. You should be able to navigate this. But she didn't have any little sisters. She didn't know how to navigate that. Tran figured it out. Took some years, but figured it out. So now it's Chloe's turn. Ken then came into the picture. And so she's bigger than Ken. If Ken don't listen, I'm just going to hit her. That's not what she says. But it's like, don't do that to me. So, but her response will be, I can lift her up. So anyway, she lifted her up and Ken fell. Why did she fall? Because she was moving. Why did you have her in your arms? Because I told her to stop. Why are you putting your hands on somebody?
There it is.
Especially somebody smaller than you.
There it is.
You have to figure that thing out.
Yeah.
You know the feeling. Do you know how you feel right now?
Yeah.
And so we had to go through that. And then lo and behold, the next day, me and Tran get into it. So now what I was preaching to them, I was like, I can whoop you, but that ain't the point.
Oh, that's so good though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can, but will you understand the why behind what's happening? Tran got upset at me, was talking out the side of her neck to me. I won't go into all of it, but just talking. And I'm like, who the hell you think you talking to? Cause I'm not gonna give you shit this week. That's so I went into that field.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it checked. Once I said shit, and I don't normally just say shit in front of my kids. So it was like, check. I'm upset. These girls in here, they might be videotaping me. Let me get my mind right.
Who got me? So y'all,
Who right?
Ashton, y'all remember that? Ashton, where you at?
Right.
What? Who pranking me?
Right.
Yeah.
Kirk Franklin.
Yeah.
All time. You never know what's happening. But I'm just saying that because it was all over a game. It was a game, Trey. She got mad about a game. I said, a game? We talking about a game. A game. And you
It just say Kirk Franklin. Oh,
Woo! He got caught up, but he was in his space. I feel him. I felt him. And when he was talking, I was like, hey.
I had to catch him like, yeah.
All
right, keep going.
And another
man.
one. Anyway.
Yo.
All his songs coming up in my head right now.
I will say this.
Make you wanna
You know
stomp.
You know what's also cool about what you're saying though as well is that a lot of times so I say that God gives us an opportunity to practice what we've prayed for, right? And so, like you've been wanting to be more patient. I'm gonna be more patient today.
Right,
be
right.
More mindful, this that, and the other. And it's like, here's your opportunity,
Bro.
Okay. And that's the way it goes, because if you can practice patience in that particular moment, mindfulness in that particular moment, then your threshold has now changed.
It has.
Yeah.
Trey, look, universe, people out there.
Yeah.
I had so many moments in my I said I could grab this TV and I could throw it. I can grab these sheets and throw it. But what I ended up doing, I just took her phone.
Yeah.
But I almost like snatched out. I was like, nope, I'm gonna take her phone, her iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I don't know who she thinks she talking to. Like, I don't pay no bills right here. This ain't even your room. She asked me. She said, "Dad, can you leave? I need you to leave." Bro, bro. Anyway, and I was like, who? How?
These are new paradigms. New, like, wait a minute. And I think the other part is like, yeah, you get into these spaces like, that ain't the move.
Right.
But, I think you have your daughter is very empowered.
Yes.
Like she has an empowered mindset because you have an empowered mindset, right? She's a free thinker.
Yep.
Well, becoming a free thinker.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
And so that can create a little bit of a interesting when it becomes a little bit rearing, when it comes to rearing. And I think like my son can be the same with my oldest.
Right.
And I'm like,
Little twitch.
I still got old man strength, man. like, well, what are we doing right now? And you have to know, like, and I got boys, so
right. See.
At some point, they will challenge.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
they will lose.
I've seen it. We've seen, my youngest have tried already, and I'm like, nah, remember. And I said, we went through a few drills, and it's like, oh, you never done that before. Why would I teach you everything? You haven't gone through your full rites of passage yet.
Right.
Anyway, all right, let's get back to let's
right.
get back
I know,
to,
right?
I'm
See,
tripping.
we went down the anatomy of emotions.
The anatomy of emotions.
Well,
I love this page right here, though. Let me get in here. On page 34, it says, all thoughts are filled with the mind's memory bank under the filing system based upon the associated feeling. I'll read that again.
Say that one more again.
According to scientific findings,
Okay.
all thoughts are filed in the mind's memory bank
I remember, right? Okay.
under the filing system based upon the associated feeling.
So the associated feeling is the filing. So
Absolutely.
love, courage, jealousy,
Yep.
hate, all that.
All of that.
I think that's so true. That's why
so
when I was
dope.
in that room,
It's so dope.
I just thought back to what my dad would have did to me.
Now, here's what's so cool about this, though. If that is the case,
Yeah.
if that is the case, I think about, because we do this, we do an anchoring technique, because a lot of times in coaching, where I'll have people recall a memory where they have a particular emotion. And that helps, so if you felt courageous one day,
Right.
I want you to remember that emotion. Remember that moment. And evoke that moment anytime you're not feeling courageous. Right? You can also, if you don't feel love that day, think about a time when you felt loved. Bring that back into your space. When you felt tranquil and so on, bring that back into it. So I love that line. That's why it's full highlight in pink.
Right.
Here. The second part of that, though, couple of sentences down, self-awareness is increased much more rapidly by observing feelings rather than thoughts.
There it is. And so the barbershop, if any of my barbershop people watching this, they always like, Goolsby be his feelings, man. You always talking about your feelings, how you feel. Man's logical, we think. I was like, I hear all that. I say humans think, humans feel.
Yeah.
Now, the greater capacity we'll say may skew to women on feeling, just based on that they can create a whole new being in their bodies, and they have to have all this extra energy, I would say. But I'm always saying how men in general, from my generation, were taught to suppress thoughts. You won't cry, you don't think this way, you don't feel this way.
Suppress actions more so than the
action.
emotion.
I think you're right. It is the action.
We were told how to express it. We were trained and programmed on how to express the particular emotion, even though we had it.
Right.
Or we were feeling it.
Right. Hold on, I gotta think through that. Hold on, let me see. Don't cry.
Action. Based upon an emotion.
Don't hit. Yeah, action. Okay. All right, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since that was the case, it's now you can cry, but why are you crying?
Yeah.
Like, what are you feeling? And I think because it can become a challenge when you can see someone. Oh, I'm taking this Meisner class. If you don't know who Sandy Meisner is, I think I said this in a different podcast. But Meisner was an acting teacher who's known by his groundbreaking repetition exercise. So through the exercise, you're attempting to get you're living moment to moment. So I say something like, "Oh, you wearing gray," and then you say, "Yeah, I'm wearing gray. You're wearing gray," and we continue until emotions start to pop up.
Yeah.
And I feel like in that class, as you watch your fellow students, classmates do it, you can tell when they're lying. Like they'll be like, "Oh." Like, and then you like, oh man, you don't even recognize that I can see your truth. We do another exercise with this repetition where one person has a damn near impossible exercise that they're working on. Like, let's say I use a Rubik's Cube, for example. I'm working on my Rubik's Cube. Then I'm focused on the Rubik's Cube. My classmate will come in and have total focus on me. My obstacle, Rubik's Cube. Their obstacle, me. And in that, you have to figure out how to get over the obstacle. I have to solve this puzzle, which I probably won't be able to, but how many different ways can I figure it out? I think, and that's what I like about this book, because I think in real life, if I'm bigger than you in certain areas, I just hit you. I physically, if I don't hit you, then I'll physically intimidate.
Yeah.
If I don't physically intimidate, can I figure out how to get around the obstacle without being deterred by it?
That's nimble. Yeah.
Be quick.
Yeah. Being nimble in your thinking is necessary, man. So that you can, it's actually a quality of resilience as well. Like, let you know how far you're going to be able to go in life.
Right.
Like, I can go around this thing.
Correct.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's close out with a couple more before we get. We're not going to cover the whole thing today. This is a pretty intense book. But it says on page 41, I got a line here. Okay. At that point, it is wise to ask ourselves, and this is in the section about healing the past. It says, it is wise to ask ourselves if it's worth paying the continuing cost.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is when we talk about the emotions, and as Dr. Hawkins is talking about it here, a lot of it's about being, like, if you can incorporate a mindfulness practice into your day-to-day, it's going to help. just pausing. When we talk about it, noticing the emotion, noticing the emotion is all about attention and awareness, right? And even accepting that the emotion is there, and then letting it go.
Let it go.
And releasing that thing. So that's the anatomy of emotions. Definitely pick up this. Join us on the next couple of episodes. We're going to go into that scale a little bit more.
Yep.
And
we're going to go into the emotions, like the actual.
Yeah, the scale of emotions.
Yeah. You did say it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then.
Can I say this one thing? I just want to say one thing.
It.
I love this. Greatness is the courage to overcome obstacles.
All right, man, we got both of them.
Right.
That was a double highlight on ours, on our point right there.
I had to say that one.
Greatness is the courage to overcome obstacles.
So many that you have already overcome that you may not. It's just once you're conscious of it, your whole life can change.
Sure.
I didn't mean to side.
No, that's it, man. That's right. We'll come back to it. We'll probably stay right there and come into our next part because that's gonna be. Oh, that's actually the next to the last page.
Yep.
So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoy the book. Please pick up "Letting Go" by Dr. R. Hawkins. I think you will enjoy. He has a whole series, a bunch of stuff, but start with this. It'll help you liberate your mind where you are right now and really understand your emotions even better.
Read a book.
Read a book. I almost said something. This is Trey.
Nimble goes back.
And this is As a Man Thinketh. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
There's music.